Hey guys, and welcome to this video where I just do a talk to the camera. We'll kind of consider it a storytime vlog. I don't know. I don't really do story times and stuff. And this is going to be the like some of the pains that I've went through right in my life that I can think of off the top of my head to keep this video short. So I'm going to try and lightning round them. But if I go into depth and explain them, that's just me forgetting that I said lightning round at the beginning of this video, and stuff like that. So let's go. One that I can think of was when I stepped. It's actually the reason why I always wear socks indoors, which doesn't really make any sense when I explain it. But it's when I was outside and I was on this playground. It was in the apartments I lived in. It was about 6, 7 years ago, and there was this like little block, and it had like a nail poking out of it. And I think it was to some sort of fence post, but it looked too big. It looked brickish, but it wasn't a brick. It was just a piece of wood with a nail sticking out of it. And I, not knowing how much it would hurt, and being the idiot that I was, slammed down on it. Like literally my foot just panned down on it and went up through my shoe and into my foot. So it would probably make a lot more sense if I wore shoes indoors, but I don't normally do that. I just wear, that's why I never go sockless. I don't know. Another nail story would be when it was also about 6 or 7 years ago, I guess 7 or 8. It was when I was taking out some garbage, and there was this, I was with my cousin at the time, and we were messing around. Oh crap. We were messing around, and I like got pushed into the wall, into like the fence that was separating from another set of apartments, like an entire different set of apartments, and there was this nail coming out of it. Do not ask me why. I honestly don't know why there was a nail poking out of it. That's horrible design, and I'm really glad I don't live there anymore. But it's on this hand. It explains there's a scar on my hand. I know the camera will not pick it up, but there's like a tiny little scar. It's from the nail coming into my arm, like poking directly and pushing through, and then me sliding across it, so it came across a tiny bit, like, and that hurt. That hurt pretty badly. It was like when I first got it, it was like sheer white meat, and then blood, and that freaked me out. But now it's just a scar that I live with, so whatever. Some pain I've imagined I went through, but didn't actually, I wasn't like aware to notice. It's just from my mom explaining, but I thought I might throw it in, is this scar that's right here. If you ever notice, whenever I'm like on it, like if I'm taking a picture or if I'm in a video and I turn this way, and you'll notice there's a scar right on my chin. There's an explanation behind that. It's from when I was being born. My mom had to have a C-section for me, and from what I know, it was like a laser or something. Probably wasn't a laser. Probably was just too gullible to leave. But whatever it was, cut me right here. And if it went in any parallel or perpendicular area, most likely I would not have survived that surgery. But I did, and I came out, and I live with the scar. The scar's been with me for all my life. I might keep it just to remind myself that that's how I was born. That's my life. I don't know. I might get it removed. I don't know. One that occurred last year that I actually talked about in a video is, it's over on this arm. Sorry, I gotta remember which arms it was. It's very imperceptible now, but it's when me, Cord, and Hunter were biking, and I flew off my bike, and I got like this rock incision and road rash, and the time when I got back up, like immediately afterwards, it didn't hurt as bad. The pain, like a couple hours later, was immense. It was like stinging and throbbing, and I was like, what is going on? Did I actually do something? Turns out, I slightly tore open my arm and didn't realize. And so I didn't tend to it immediately. So I'm glad that I did sooner when I got to my sister's just before I was about to go home, because if I didn't, it would most likely got infected, and I would have never noticed, and it would have hurt even more. Another biking incident that just happened to do with corn that happened in 2018 was when we were doing this like section of a bike park where it had, I've explained this in a vlog before, but I guess it's good to reiterate. There was these like ramps you can go off of. They're not really ramps, they're just like straight, it's just straight planks, and then it's a cutoff, and then it goes up and up and up, and there were 5 of them. I think it went up to like 5 feet as well, 1 for each foot, and me and Corn did the 3 feet, but I guess I wasn't going fast enough, as Corn would have told me. So what happened was, he went off, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go after you, and then I went, and then he was like, I guess this, and then I was going, and then I was going too slow, and then my bike just flat out like dropped. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. I thought it was going to drop, and then the back tire was going to come with. Turns out, that's not how physics works, apparently, because when the front tire dropped, I immediately shot off the seat, over the handlebars, off the seat, and hit my arms first onto it. And then did not realize, I went a couple days after that. It hurt bad. It hurt real bad. But I went a couple days and then came to the realizations like, okay, this is still hurt. I think I sprained it. And I didn't tend to it immediately, so I didn't really think there was anything I could do. But then I realized, oh crap, I just sprained it and didn't give any attention to it whatsoever. That was a bad idea, because it probably would have hurt less if I had tended to it faster. But because we were in a bike park, I thought, okay, I'm going to have to deal with it, and then just forgot about it later on, even though it was still hurting. I was like, okay, it'll go away. It didn't go away for almost a week. So, bad idea on my part. One more bike incident that I can think of was, I think it was back in 2014 or 2015, I don't know. I was just going around my apartments on my little BMX bike, just going through, clearing my own imagination, and I went in front of what would be my future apartment house. There's this little, like, where I lived, there was the second floor, which is what I lived on, and then, like, the sidewalk. The first floor was below it, and there was this, like, little rock wall. It's just a wall made of rocks. The second floor was basically the first floor compared to the level of the sidewalk. So, this is going to be a completely stupid story. You're going to think I'm an idiot, but don't worry, I thought the same as well. I went down that little rock wall, like, it was about the same height as the first floor level, or the ground floor, or whatever you want to say, and thinking about it now, I'm thinking about how stupid I was. I tethered myself to my bike with, like, this little piece of rope that I had. It wasn't long enough for that, but I did it anyway. And back then, I was not wearing a helmet when I rode that bike, because I thought it's just a BMX, and I wasn't really doing any extreme things, so why would I need that? Well past Cam, when you do stupid things like tethering yourself to a bike and then jumping down that rock wall with enough force and inertia to pull the bike to land right on top of your head, that's why you need a helmet. If you're going to be doing stupid things like that, which are dumber and more rational than actually doing extreme stuff, unprepared. So, yeah, long story short, I jumped down that rock wall, tethered with this tiny little rope, and then the bike came pummeling down on top of me, and that hurt so bad. I was just outside by myself, so it didn't jump to the point where I was like screaming or anything, because I felt like I couldn't scream. It just felt like someone was hitting a bat on my head, but it was a bat that was like 60 pounds. I'm trying to think of the time where I sprained. I can't remember which hand I sprained with the ball. I'm trying to think of back to last year when I talked about it. I'm just going to talk about the pain of that and this kind of the story behind it. So I was in a gym class, and we were doing a basketball unit. I don't really like basketball, but whatever. That's just how it is over here. But I was like, I think I was with Avery. I don't know. And I was shooting the hoop. Or no, I wasn't shooting the hoop. Someone else was shooting the hoop. Might have been Avery. I don't know. And it came back, and I don't know if I was trying to, like, I can't remember if I was trying to block it or if I was trying to catch it or anything. But it was one of these hands. It came down with so much force and just crushed a couple of my fingers back and went into my hand real bad. And that stung a bunch. Luckily, it was on a Friday, so I didn't, or I think it was actually on a Thursday, so I'd only have to worry about it for a day. But it hurt so bad, I actually had to go out. I couldn't, by fourth period, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do anything with my hand. It was insane, so I had to go over to the hospital, and they said, "Oh, it looks like you sprained your hand." Sprained my hand because of a ball. Keep that in mind. Because of a ball I was trying to either catch or push away or block or something. That's why I don't like basketball. Something I could think of I had to go to the hospital for was when I was having stomach pains and stuff like that, and I had to get... What was it I had to get? It was some sort of scan. Like, you know the scan you do for if you're trying to see, like, if you're pregnant? I can't remember what it's called. Oh, yeah, ultrasound. I had to get an ultrasound because I was having so many stomach pains. So I remember I couldn't, like, eat in the morning before I went so they can check my stomach properly without any, like, intestinal motion going on and stuff like that, and they can capture proper pictures and see what was wrong with me. And it was just that I had stomach problems. And I later learned that there were some foods that I couldn't eat because they were causing these stomach problems. And then I later found out that I may have a trace, that at that time, that I may have a trace of lactose intolerance due to from my mom possibly having it, and my reaction to certain, like, lactose, like, if they weren't lactose free, if they were just pure lactose, my reaction to those foods. So I tested it out. I did milk, I did ice cream, I did, like, cheese and stuff like that. Pain. That's all I could say. It was pain. Usually in lactose intolerance, it'll be like, you'll have these severe stomach problems, and it'll turn into diarrhea, which diarrhea isn't good. You don't just have diarrhea and then you're done. It's pain. It wasn't even diarrhea for me. It was just constant pain and like the feeling that I was going to vomit. And you could say that was just that day. Every single time I had like dairy after that, I felt that, and I still feel it to this day. Like, if I were to go and drink normal milk and risk it, I would just feel pain afterwards, and for an hour I can't do anything. And you could say get through the pain and stuff like that, and you'll be fine for drinking it. I don't want to do that every time. It is indeed painful, and it hurts, and then I can't do anything, and then that's an hour wasted. So, no, thank you. I can also remember a time I sprained my ankle. It was 2014. It was the first time that I sprained my ankle. I think it was my left one, but I can't remember because, like I said, it was 2014. Excuse me. I remember one of my friends' name was Ocean. I can't remember the other friend I was playing with, but we were playing with these, like, home laser tag guns, but we were playing outside. And this was also when I was living in an apartment. So there's this, like, power box with, like, cables and stuff in it to keep the power running. And there's this, like, hook running off the box. And I was wearing these, like, longer jeans that went longer than my ankle a bit. So I was sitting on top of that box. I can't remember why. I think I was waiting for my turn because we were doing turns. And then as it was my turn and I was going to get up off of that box, the end of my pants hooked on to the hook. I don't even know why there was a hook, but it hooked onto it, and I, like, swung right off the box, and it twisted my ankle, basically. Did I say sprained or twisted? Anyway, that hurt so bad. I could, like, you'd think, how does that hurt? How does that even happen? I don't know. To this day, I don't even know how that happened. Whatever it did, it just twisted my ankle, and it was so painful that my friend Ocean's mother had to come and carry me. I wasn't too far from my apartment, but she had to carry me to my apartment to tell what's wrong. And I had to sleep it off. I was in so much pain that night that I could barely sleep. And the next day, I think it was while school was going, I had to go into the hospital and see if there was anything wrong. And that's when I found out that I twisted and sprained my ankle. And so, like, going to school after that, you may think, oh, wow, people are going to treat you looked so well and stuff like that. Do you realize how hard walking with crutches is? I had to be in crutches for about a week. I do not care about how people would help you out during the day and stuff like that. I like going to my bus. I lived pretty much a distance from my bus. It was like my apartments. I lived in a very big apartment complex. I was like my apartments, and then the like bus stop was all the way down the road at the beginning of the apartments where the main office was. Getting there by myself on crutches was hard. I know my dad couldn't do it because he had to go to work before that, so I had to do it myself. And that was like I had to leave earlier because of the crutches. It would slow me down. It was awful. I remember I had to pass the crutches up to the bus driver so that he can help me get up the stairs to the bus and then do the same back down. And then walking during school outside, had to walk with the crutches. It was a difficult time. I've been there, done that. Don't want to do it again. If I had to do it again, nightmare. But yeah, I think that's all the pain I can really think of right now. I'm not going to go into like in-depth pain because I know there's going to be some people who don't really want to hear that and stuff like that and stuff I don't really want to go into. I remember, oh, there's one more pain, and it has to do with vomit. So trigger warning. I'm leaving this at the end. Trigger warning. If you're not into that stuff, I don't know why you would be. That just triggers you. I talked about this story before, but I remember it was 2017. I was with my older brother at my mom's place. My mom was at work, and me and my older brother went to go get some food. And it was snowing and everything. It was the 24th of December. I even have an Instagram on the 24th of December. It was something that my brother took. And when we got home, I was feeling so awful. And it was directly after I ate some microwave burritos, which I don't think they were microwaved all the way, or they could have been expired, and I got food. I actually think they were. And I got food poisoning. But, oh my God. All I can say is I never want to get food poisoning again. I don't even know why I would, but I most definitely never, ever want to get food poisoning again. Because that was like, for about 3 hours, like after we got home and I ate those burritos, unbeknownst to me that they were expired, I was like, okay, I'm having some serious stomach pain. I need to lie down. And for about 2 to 3 hours, the pain just got worse and worse. I was like rolling over. I was like, oh God, what is this? Don't tell me I'm going to throw up again. Because at that time, I threw up a lot. I was a kid that threw up a lot. And it was like, oh my God, do not tell me I'm going to throw up. Don't tell me this is happening again. It's been so long. Don't tell me this is happening again. And then, like, on that second or third hour, I was like, okay, something is happening. I need to go to the bathroom. I thought I was having, like, diarrhea or something. So, me thinking I had diarrhea, I sat down on the toilet. And then the pain, all in that 1 second, just erupted into, like, severe. It was bad. And I ended up throwing up on the floor right in front of me. And if you can imagine, oh God, if you can imagine like a pot, like it's like a big pot, like that you'd cook spaghetti in or something, that's basically an amount to how much I threw up. And I was like, okay. I later found out that it was not just due to the burritos, it was also due to the food I ate. I ate some chicken nuggets from McDonald's, but because the burritos were expired and I got food poisoning, it ended up making me puke even more because my body wanted to get that out. Unfortunately, I was sitting on the toilet instead of in front of the toilet, so it went on the floor in front of me. And my mom wasn't home yet, so I couldn't really do anything. I just sat down and waited, and then I threw up again. So that's why it started piling up. So that time, when I threw up again, though, after trying to go to bed, it was in the toilet, so it was fine. I didn't have diarrhea whatsoever. So it was just all bad. But that was like a big pain thing, and it's not the biggest pain I've ever had in my life, but it was one of the biggest pains I've ever had in my life that sucked so bad, and I never want to go through that again. I never want to get food poisoning again, for that specific reason that I was in about 3 to 4 hours of immense pain, and I don't want to do that again. But I'm going to leave this video here. I think I missed one. I missed the flu one. Whatever. I'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave this video here because I've been recording for 20 minutes. So guys, thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy more, please subscribe to your first time. You don't chance to subscribe to it again today. Like a pro for more games. Apart from that, have a nice day. Goodbye and see you later. I guess for the end credit, I will talk about the flu one. It was in January of this year. It was a week after me and my friends hung out. I got the flu. It was right when I went to the dentist. Before I went to the dentist, I was having a headache. My grandmother took me to the dentist, and they sprayed this crap in my mouth that made me get a sore throat. And then I later found out that I had the flu because when I got home here, I was getting dizzy, like so dizzy to the point where I couldn't even walk to my own bedroom. Like, I literally, it was so hard. I had to sit on the couch and wait because everything was so loopy and I was so dizzy that I couldn't do it. I was nauseous and everything. It felt like I was going to puke. And for 5 days to almost a week, I was in bed. Couldn't do anything because every time I caught up, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. I started, like, on the third day, third night, like, every night I couldn't sleep. The third night, I started, like, hallucinating, stuff like that. That I was getting up and getting out and was able to do stuff, but I really wasn't because it was in the middle of the night. It sucked.